starting Maya. The structure of Maya is made up of application, map 1, map 2. The tree structure with groups defines and organizes information on the same topic. What we're going to look at today are the tools for working with and modifying the matrices or vectors. To modify matrices and vectors, you first need to select the cells. You want to edit, and then by right-clicking and using the Edit menu, you have access to the available editing functions. Today in particular, we will use the fill function, the gain function, and the offset function. Let's start with the fill function, which allows you to set all the selected cells to a specific value. In addition to this, there is the gain function, which allows you to multiply the selected cells by any number you choose. We can use the same function to reduce the selected cells by a certain percentage. In this case, we will reduce them by 70%, so we will enter 0.3. Another function we can use is the offset function, where we can add a number to the selected cells or use the negative offset function to subtract a number from the selected cells. Now let's see how to use the tools introduced earlier to modify the fuel and ignition timing maps. Let's start with B-fuel, which is the basic fuel map. As before, we select the area we want to modify. Using the edit button, we make a change with the gain function because we want to add 7% more fuel. In the same way, we can select another area, whether small or large. And using the gain menu again, we can remove 3% of fuel. As for the ignition timing, let's start from the base timing map. Same thing here. We select the area we want to modify, but in this case, we use the offset function where we can add 4 degrees. Alternatively, we could choose to subtract 10 degrees from the current value, which would help us adjust the temperature to a more comfortable level without making any drastic change. So the same changes we've made using the edit menu can also be accessed with the dedicated keys. The selection can be made, as we saw earlier, in the matrix, but also in the 3D view, where the selected areas are highlighted with red dots, and the red dots correspond to the blue cells in the matrix. Again, we select the area of interest. Using the plus function, we use the offset feature to add 10 degrees. Or, still by selecting an area, we apply a negative offset of 5 degrees. The same thing can be done with the fill function. That is, I select an area of interest to which I want to assign a fixed advance value. In the same way, in the fuel function, within the fuel matrix, the gain functions can be used to make adjustments except for the asterisk key, where in this case, we can add 20% more fuel or subtract 25% of the fuel. So the 3D view is accompanied by the display of the vector which is represented by the blue line highlighted in the 3D view. You can move it forward with the purple arrows, more, and backward with the green arrows. In the vector representation, the selected line is shown by the purple row. The purple line represents the current vector, the next line, and the green row represents the previous color. The display can be just a 3D view, a hybrid view of both, or only the vector. Within the vector, if you want, you can manually adjust it by dragging individual points as you see fit. You can move the area by pressing the right mouse button. You can zoom in using the left mouse button. You can return to the starting point with the fit function. If you want, just as a note, it can happen that you accidentally make a small zoom selection that resets the window. You can return to the home view with the fit function. It is possible to invert the displayed vector, and so you can have throttle versus RPM, or RPM versus throttle. The blue line flips accordingly. Okay,